We have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck. Hey, everybody. I'm Tommy Scoville, and you're on the lifeboat. Hope you're all having a good Friday. Sorry, I just read an email. I should have probably waited until after the lifeboat, but I just didn't see it coming. But I just got kicked really hard in the stomach. And yeah. The email yelled at me, among other things, for the video that I did after the one that I said this one's for me, where I sat down and I went off about the fact that the former president could be indicted. I apparently didn't take the lifeboat into account, and I don't care about anybody on the lifeboat but myself. And apparently I took a phone call from this individual and hung up when I heard their voice. And I want to tell you something. May the world swallow me up if I've ever hung up on somebody from the lifeboat after I heard their voice. Seriously, may the earth swallow me up. Boy, oh boy, I'd love to read it out loud what was just said to me, because I am just absolutely beside myself. And there are tons of people that hate me. They take turns hating me. It's something that I've become quite accustomed to. But not from somebody like this. This one just shocked me. So today's thumbnail is about advice on living the new you. We have a lot of people on the lifeboat who are new to sobriety. We go in cycles here on the boat. You know, for a long period of time, we'll get to know one another, and we'll all sort of jive with one another, and everybody kind of meshes together, and we get to know one another. And usually there are people that are working through different stages of sobriety. And then we get an influx of new people. And those new people are very often new to the game. And regardless of whether you're new to it or whether it's something that you've been doing for a while, there are some pieces of advice that I think are kind of pertinent. These are things that Alan Ballantyne, good to see you. People, if we could say some prayers for Alan. Alan's going through it. He's got some physical issues that he's going through right now, and I'm concerned about him. He's a very good friend of mine. So if we could keep Alan in our prayers, I would really appreciate it. Thanks, Wharton, man. That means a lot. It really does. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. The insane thing is I could read you something that this person once wrote about me that would have made you think that I walked on water. Apparently, since then, I've become a dirtbag. The first piece of advice that I would give anybody who is new to this sobriety game is that they be patient. It takes a long time for most people to develop a serious drug or alcohol habit. This is not something that you wake up one day and you're addicted to drugs. More often than not, it is something that More often than not, it's something that takes a long time. It actually takes effort. We don't think about that at the time, but we actually have to put quite a bit of effort into the act of becoming a drug addict or an alcoholic. It's not something that happens overnight. I mean, theoretically, you're probably addicted the first time you take that sip. But the process of spinning out of control to where this no longer is something that we do for fun or we do for relaxation or we do for, for reasons that we might call partying or any of those things that we tend to associate with the early days of drug or alcohol use. It takes a long time to sort of go down that rabbit hole and find yourself to where you are actually dependent on the substance. So don't think that because you stop drinking on Monday or you stop doing drugs on Monday, that by Friday you're going to start being who you want to be. If you take a bottle away from a baby, they scream, and it's very similar to those who are addicted. When your substance of choice is pulled away from you, very often it's far more than you've lost your coping skills or your coping mechanisms. And it's far more than your ability to relax or any of the things that we kind of take, for granted as being what we get out of our substance. It's far more than that. In many cases, you're losing your best friend. This is the one person, this is the one person that you could go to no matter what. And we build up this thing in our head. One of the reasons that I always stress that I think it's important to write a goodbye letter to your drug of choice is because the drug really does take on human characteristics. And we start to think things in our mind subconsciously, or in some cases consciously, that, well, you know what? Heroin never turned its back on me. Heroin never said anything bad about me. Every time I needed it, it was there. Every time. And you start to go through your mind, giving this thing the attributes of a human being. So all of a sudden, you've lost your best friend. So be patient with this process. Realize that it is a process. The whole sobriety thing, if you do it for the next 70 years of your life, it's going to be a process through that entire 70 years. It's not going to be easy. There will be stretches that seem like you can take it for granted and you can forget about it. And then something will come up. There will be a life event that brings it all back into focus. And you start thinking about that friend that never turned its back on you, or that friend that was there for you in the worst of times. And it's very easy to slide back into that. So as you're building the new you, be patient. Don't expect this to happen overnight. The act of quitting is literally that fast. It takes 1 second to quit your drug of choice. We say, I'm not doing that anymore. And literally you have quit. Then the process of learning to live with that 1 second decision can take the rest of your life. In fact, it will take the rest of your life. And it'll be something that you have to work on consistently through that entire time. So be patient. Don't think that that you making that split second decision to no longer drink or do drugs is going to make you into a new human being. It's just going to make you into a dry or a sober human being, chemical free. And then you have to start building who you are. So please, first and foremost, in this entire process, you really need to be patient. The second piece of advice I would give is that you stay busy. We talk about this a lot on the boat, but idle hands are, the tools of the devil. And there's a reason that people say that. It's not just it's not a cliche that became a cliche by accident. It's a cliche that became a cliche because it makes so much damn sense. And anyone who has spent any amount of time in this sobriety game can tell you stories of sitting on the couch or sitting in the kitchen or whatever, but being alone, nothing going on, nothing to divert your attention, just you and your own mind. And just how quickly that starts the process of what we call here ANTS, which is an acronym for automatic negative thoughts. When those automatic negative thoughts kick in, that's usually the start of bad things happening. Most relapses, I scratch that, all relapses start with automatic negative thoughts. And so Satan attacks come in every form. Shrug off the email and pray for them. It's hard, but it's right. But it's the right thing to do. Love you, brother. You know what? Full of hope I mean this, and I don't mean this with disrespect to anybody else on the boat, but there are just some people, and Full of Hope is one of them, that Every single time I see an email and it's from her, I'm just happy as hell. I really am. They're not just, hey, you're a great guy kind of emails. They always make me think. And it's just, I don't know if she got the email. I sent an email today and I said, I wish that you lived around the corner because I would love to sit in a room and talk to you for 4 or 5 hours. It's just one of those people that I cannot begin to tell you how much you do for my gray matter. I'm blessed that you are on this boat. I mean that. Full of Hope is just full of hope. I love you. I'm really glad that you're here. I mean that. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate it. So staying busy is absolutely one of the most essential things. If you have any hope whatsoever of keeping your sobriety going, you hear all kinds of cliches, and you've heard them all on the boat 1,000 times. And I'll continue to say them because they're truisms. These are things that are so ingrained and such a part of sobriety that you can't not say them. You need to change people, places, and things, right? You can't continue to do the same things that you were doing and have any hope whatsoever of remaining sober. But there's a reason that that's such a big thing. And the reason is that drug use, alcoholism, anything that you're doing, gambling, whatever, these are habitual, right? These things we do habitually. Doesn't just mean that the drinking is a habit. There are 500 habits that are associated with drinking. If you've ever spent any amount of time with someone who's a drug addict, and what I mean by that is it's very difficult sometimes to view yourself. We do what we do and we take it for granted. And it's just part of who we are and it's part of our drug addiction. But if you ever spend time with somebody who is a drug addict and you watch the rituals, I used to notice them when I was on drugs. But if you're sober, to watch the ritual of somebody getting in the process of using, it is absolutely amazing because they do the same thing virtually every single time. And that starts long before somebody cracks that beer. It's the process of getting in the car. It's the process of going and buying every single thing. You know what? Seventh, I am the luckiest. Make no mistake. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. And I needed it. True story. But those rituals, those habits are all part of this entire addiction thing. And, today I was out running errands and I had to go meet a friend, a guy that's on the boat, actually. My friend Jim, I needed to go meet, and we hung out for a little while. And I was leaving we were at a restaurant. I was leaving the restaurant that we were at, and there was a guy walking out who had a pack of cigarettes. And for 3 minutes that I was out there talking to Jim, this guy was packing the tobacco, which is hysterically funny, right? This is an affectation from films of the 1930s. When the machines that rolled tobacco rolled them so poorly that you could pull a cigarette out and all of the tobacco would fall into the pack. So you would actually take the time to pack that so that when you pulled it out, it would not be an issue. Of course, the machinery these days, it's not really an issue. But this guy spent 3 minutes, I'm not exaggerating, just packing the hell out of that tobacco. I'm sure that there had to be a hollow spot this big at the end. But it occurred to me when I was watching him do it that this is just part of his ritual. This is a part of his ritual. Every time he buys a pack of cigarettes, he goes through that packing thing. He walks around, he's talking on the phone. It's just part of that ritual. And we do this no matter what your drug of choice is, and no matter how long you've been addicted to it, whether you realize it or not. You have a litany of rituals that are attached to that disease and to that addiction. So we need to stay busy. And in doing so, you need to get an entirely new set of rituals. I say, make your damn bed, right? And you're all tired of hearing me say it. Make your bed. I used to do that when I smoked. You know what? So many people do. I don't remember if I did or not. I think I was probably in such a hurry that I didn't. I think I probably just ripped the top off of it too. Because for me, I didn't smoke cigarettes because I enjoyed cigarettes. And I didn't smoke cigarettes because I wanted nicotine. I smoked cigarettes because the nicotine did something to the drug I was doing. So it would get to a point where, if I was out of money, I would go and look for cigarettes in ashtrays and pick them up because I needed nicotine right after I fixed. That combination of the drug, the nicotine, all of that was all part of the ritual. And I would be sick. I would be, vomiting sick. But if I didn't have nicotine, I wasn't ready to make the sick go away because I wasn't going to get that full effect. There was something about how nicotine kicks in, a shot of heroin but it was all part of the ritual. So staying busy is more than just, having something to do with our hands instead of the things that we were doing. Staying busy is creating a new set of rituals. I get up in the morning, and what I do before I do the lifeboat is, if you watched it on Wednesday or you saw it next Tuesday or you filmed what I do, there would not be anything different. Nothing. My body craves that ritual. My body craves that routine. So does yours. Because we're addicts. We are people that crave that like you would not believe. So I get up in the morning. My new thing is I navage, right? Because this thing has never worked right, probably from years of abusing it. But I take that navage thing that sucks all of the foulness out of my nasal cavities. I brush my teeth, and then I walk downstairs. I stop at the first landing because Squirrel is going to stop at the first landing and drop on her side. I bend down. I give Squirrel a little scratch on the back. When I get to the bottom of the stairs, I let Squirrel into the garage. Every day, this does not vary in any way. Then I go over, I pull out the empty coffee from the Keurig, I pop in a new one, I pour the creamer in the cup, I put it in there, I hit the button, and then I go to check on Squirrel because usually by then she's ready to come back in. She just needs a minute out there to see if there's a mouse like calling her name. But that starts the whole process of what I do. And then I come over here, I sit down and I get everything queued up, usually with about 40 minutes to spare. Then I go make a bagel. But what I do is as important to my sobriety as anything else, because ritual is such a huge thing for addicts. So we've removed the drug. We have not removed the desire for ritual. So making your bed, brushing your teeth, doing coffee, doing breakfast, all of the things that we do are protecting you from going back to your other ritual. Staying busy is essential. If you find yourself during the day with time on your hands and you're not doing anything with that time, you're sitting there, you're doing nothing, I got news for you. You're in trouble. You are. Because that time that you're spending doing nothing is becoming part of your ritual. If you watch people who are successful in anything, I don't care who they are, if it's Elon Musk or if it's a guy whose only claim to fame for success these days is that he is sober, there is going to be ritual in everything they do, and there's going to be busy. You say, well, it's hard to come up with stuff to do all day long, Tommy. Well, you got an hour on your hand? Go walk. Go outside and walk for an hour. We talk about all of the things, right? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. If you're eating, we got the hungry part taken care of, right? Eat 3 meals a day. Do not let yourself get hungry. Tired just comes down to the fact that if you're getting a good night's sleep, then chances are you don't have to worry about the tired. Now, how do we make sure that we get a good night's sleep? Well, you stay busy. You do things. You have your day booked solid every day. You're doing the same thing, or certain days you may have to do other things. My son Calhoun goes to the gym now regularly. Most people don't go to the gym 7 days a week. So on the days he's not going to the gym, there's going to be a block of time that he needs to do other things. And he's been a stud. I'm so proud of my son because he'll say to me, you know what, today I'm going to do this, this, and this. And every time I talk to him, there's something he's got scheduled. Stay busy. You want your new life to take? I want you to think of sobriety as planting sobriety. You know, when you say, that's it, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I can't live this way. My life is unmanageable. I can't consistently do what I'm doing and survive. That's the seed, right? It goes into the dirt. That thing needs to grow, and it needs to grow big. And everything that you do that is routine is watering that seed, taking care of that seed, pruning, weeding things around it. It's all about making the new you grow. and you better be busy. Make yourself busy. And it doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be saving the earth. But it better not be staring at a television set, because if you think that that is busy, it's not. Now, if you say, Tommy, it's all I can do. I'm stuck in a chair. I can't walk. Okay. If that's what we have to work with, may I suggest that you watch things that engage this, right? And I don't mean Fast and Furious. I don't mean Top Gun. I'm talking about educational stuff. There's nothing wrong with sitting down and watching something that is challenging your brain to remember, to process. You know, I don't know how many times in my life I've watched something on TV that I've seen before, and I am not catching any of it. I mean, I could speak the part along with it as it's going, but my brain, automatic negative thoughts. I could be sitting and watching Top Gun, the first movie, and looking at it, and I feel the need for speed. And at the same time, my brain is going, why are you even doing this? Seriously, you're bored stiff. You could make a call right now. The guy would be in the parking lot in 30 minutes. You got what, $40 right now? It's 4 bags. Just make the call. Make the call. Make the call. I can't do that. I don't have those options anymore. That is a luxury I don't have. Downtime, not a luxury for me. I have to stay busy. I have to stay busy. If I have any hope of remaining sober, then I have to stay busy. And I would suggest that you do the same, because honestly, everyone I know who is successful in sobriety makes routine and scheduling a huge part of what they do. Not a bad idea to get a piece of paper and actually write down what that schedule is going to be. Maybe not for the rest of your life, but in the beginning, don't have downtime. Schedule what you're going to do. Have it in place, because if you do, your odds of that seed that you planted actually growing into the mighty oak, those odds really go up. Puffinator, good to see you. I'm really glad that you're here. Third, I would say that you need sleep and you need food, right? We just touched on this a second ago. But hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. Tired is huge. If you are walking around during the day and you are tired, even if your drug of choice is one that brings you down, not up, your brain is going, you know why you're tired, right? You know why you're tired. You're tired because you don't have dope. You can make this go away instantly. You just got to get some dope. You get that feeling of hunger. Hunger is a desire from within the body for something that we don't have. Does that sound familiar? Think about that. Inside your body, your brain and your body start talking and they say, make him uncomfortable. We want to make him uncomfortable. Hunger pains, all of that is your brain and your body getting together to get you to do something. Does that sound familiar? Because it's the exact same thing that happens with dope. You can't afford to have that running alongside of something else that we're very used to. Does this make sense? If you've got your brain working with your body to make part of you uncomfortable so that you will feed it, it's not a jump to go through, all right, let's make him uncomfortable again, and he'll feed us something else. Maybe he'll feed us a crack rock, or a Xanax bar, or a hit of fentanyl, or a 6-pack, whatever the case may be. We don't want our body and our brain getting together to create an urge in our body that we feel the need to feed. How do you avoid that? Well, you preemptively strike. If you get up in the morning and you eat bacon and eggs, at 10 o'clock, you're probably not going to be hungry. Pretty logical stuff, right? Noon rolls around and you eat a salad or you eat a burger or you eat whatever. 1 or 2 o'clock rolls around, you're not going to be hungry. You get up in the morning and you blow off breakfast. By 2 o'clock, your body is wreaking havoc. Your brain and your body are getting together and saying, make him uncomfortable. He'll feed us. Make him uncomfortable. If you knew the fine line that's going on in your brain between, boy, I could really use a hamburger, or boy, I could really use an 8-ball. We're talking about a game that we don't have the luxury of playing. Same with sleep. We do not have the luxury to run on 3 hours of sleep.
I know I've missed some shows, people. I've missed some shows because I got tired, plain and simple, and I needed sleep. Last night after the lifeboat, I slept for 13 hours. I was laying in bed and my phone chirped, and it was Heather. God bless Heather. But AKA Heather Joy said, "You want to really get a long night's sleep? I can do the morning show." And I thought, oh, God, please, yes, that would be great. And now I'm firing on all cylinders. Health wise, I still don't feel $1,000,000, but I'm rested. I'm firing on all cylinders. Sleep is essential. And you say, Tommy, I just quit, man. My brain will not let me sleep. Oh, I get that. I get that. I went to prison and I had to kick dope in prison. And I had done it so many times in my life, so many times. And I knew I was looking at 30 days before I could get some sleep. And I talked to Q and he said, how many times have you kicked in jail? I said, I don't know, 7 or 8, 9, maybe more than that. I don't know, a lot. And he said, how long does it take before you can get a good night's sleep? I said, a month. I'm not going to get a decent night's sleep for a month. He said, want to bet? I said, yeah, I'm telling you, dude. Like, I'm not new to this. You may think you're a genius and you've helped people get sober, but I know what I'm talking about. I'm not getting any sleep. Trust me, it's going to be a full month. And then he introduced me to the Navy SEAL burpee. And if you know what burpees are, and you know what the Navy SEAL version of burpees are, there I was, dope sick, going up, down, kickouts, up, down. I did burpees until there was a puddle of sweat on the floor of my cell. I'm sweating out chemicals, but I am sweating. There was a puddle that covered, I'm talking about half of the cell floor was covered. And I would say to him, I can't do any more of these, man. And then he would say things I can't repeat on the air, questioning my manhood, talking about how I didn't have any guts. I didn't really want to be sober. But I'll tell you something. It didn't take me 30 days to go to sleep. I promise you that. Now, did I go to bed and get an 8-hour sleep? I didn't. But I'll bet you I got 4. And if you've ever kicked dope, you know what that is. 4 hours of sleep was like, I could not believe it. I said to him, man, that worked. It's a shame you can't do, that kind of workout every day because, you do upper bodies and stuff like that. And then you rotate through. And he said, oh, no. For the first day, for the first month, we're going to do burpees every single day. And then 4 days a week, we're going to do legs on top of it. I hated him, people. I hated him. But he knew how important sleep was. So I'm not suggesting that we go out and do burpees because a lot of us are probably, I'm to the age now where I don't know that I could be doing burpees. But you can walk. You can exercise. Go out and walk. Simple stuff. You got 2.5 hours of downtime and you're going to watch something on television that is educational, maybe something about sobriety, whatever. Do it standing up. Stop sitting down. Sound crazy? I'm telling you this, and you may not believe it, but I am telling you the gospel truth. On the last prison sentence that I did, I sat down when told to sit down. That was it. I did not sit down. I would watch films in a squatted position with my feet on the floor, but like literally squatting like a ball. And I would do it on this little concrete bench thing that would go up. One television out of 6 would show nothing but documentaries. And if something good was on there, I would squat on that and I would watch that thing for 2 hours. And people would come by and go, man, I don't know how you could sit like that. That would drive me nuts. But I was not going to sit down for anything. Everything I did was designed to help me get to sleep, because I came to realize just how damn important sleep is. And this may sound crazy, but if you're not eating, you ain't sleeping. Believe that. You want to have a good night's sleep, eat 3 meals a day and exercise, and you will actually get a good night's sleep. And that is absolutely nuts and bolts stuff if you're going to try to create a new you, if you're going to try to make it in this whole growing the sobriety thing. And the next one is this. You're going to get angry, right? In that acronym is hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. You have to keep an eye on your anger. If your anger is out of the blue and it is not justified. My son, I don't want to put him on the spot, but my son will call me and say, you know what? I'm mad today. I'm just mad at everything. Well, talking to somebody about that is a good thing. But as I was explaining to him today on the phone, anger, ow, 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 anger is a normal emotion when you quit, ow, when you quit doing what you're doing. Because once again, your drug of choice, your favorite thing, has now just been taken out of your life. That's going to cause some anger. It's also going to cause a very short fuse. Does that mean you get a pass? All right. I get to treat everybody like crap. I'm getting sober. Deal with it. Doesn't work like that. What it means is you need to be aware of it. You need to be aware that your fuse, which is about this long, is now about this long. And when you feel yourself starting to get angry, there's nothing wrong with anger. There isn't. There's nothing wrong with anger, even if it's not justified. It is a part of this process. Don't beat yourself up for it. But get away from people. It's okay to go be angry outside. There were times where I would go to the absolute end of the prison yard, as far as you could possibly get away. Because if you scream anywhere on a prison yard, people show up with guns, right? They usually get pretty concerned that someone's trying to kill you. So I would get as far away from anyone as I possibly could. And I would just give it a couple of really loud, just let it out. I had a friend that used to take his mattress and he would roll it like a cigar. And then he would tie sheets around it, right? So it was like two big sheets, bands that go around this rolled up, mattress cigar. And his roommate would put his arms in those two little sheets and he would hold it. And this guy would punch that thing. And, you see it in the movies, and Rocky hits that thing for, in about 10 minutes. You will be more exhausted than you've ever been in your life. If you're in a good position, right? You got a little money, buy a punching bag. Watch how fast you can wear yourself out going outside and just hammering a punching bag and just giving it hell. In 5 or 10 minutes, you'll be exhausted. It will help you get to sleep quickly. But anger's okay. It's logical. You're going to be angry at yourself. You're going to be angry at the people who do not accept you as the new you. That's going to be real for a while. I get emails from people that say, you know what? I told my girlfriend I was never going to drink again, and she just will not believe me and be nice to me. Wow, didn't see that coming. Maybe you lied to her for the last 6 years. I'm still surprised when people believe me. The ones that know me. Spent a lot of time lying. So anger is going to be real. It's going to be one of those things. Sorry. Anger is a normal part of this. And if you beat yourself up for it, if anger comes on and you say to yourself, I'm failing at this sobriety thing, I'm always mad, man, come to grips with what's going to happen ahead of time. Pay attention to this. Maybe take some notes, because anger is normal. Anger is going to absolutely be normal. Keep in mind also that you have been drugging your emotions for a long time, right? Anger comes up, get high. I get too happy, get high. I get sad, get high. Well, now all of those things that you've been pushing down, they're right up here by the surface. I mean, right on top. So not only are you going to get angry, Rip Curl Readiness, good to see you, brother. Not only are you going to get angry, but you're going to get angry quickly and for reasons that don't make sense. You can watch people in recovery go from really mad to laughing hysterically to sobbing in a 10 to 15 minute period of time. So just know that your emotions are going to be haywire. It's going to be like the Lucas electrical system. Anybody that knows British sports cars. It's going to be the Lucas electrical system of emotions. You're going to turn on your left turn signal and the headlights are going to come on. You're going to turn on your right turn signal, the horn's going to go off. It's going to be the same thing. Your emotions are not going to make a lot of sense to you. And the one that you're going to realize the most, because it is the most obvious and the most in your face, is going to be angry. It's normal. It's normal for you to feel angry. Don't beat yourself up about it and get used to it, because it is part of this whole process. Another one that you're going to find is that When you first start going down this road to sobriety, you're going to be lonely. And lonely is normal. Doesn't mean you should put up with it. You got to love the green hanky, don't you? Yeah. I just wiped my nose with a cactus. Lonely is normal. And what I mean by that is you're going to feel isolated. Chances are you got 4 or 5 really close friends who all do drugs or drink. And you're going to withdraw from them because that's normal. You can't hang out with the same people and expect a different result, right? So you're going to start pulling away from people that you knew. So it is normal to feel lonely. Even if you're in a room of 10 people, we start to view ourselves as defective. As much as I tell you you're not, it's just a disease. That disease is going to make you feel lonely. It's going to make you feel like you are not connected to anybody or anything. But the opposite of addiction is connection. So although this is normal, and that feeling of feeling like you are, not part of anything, like you're not fitting in, like you don't have friends, you're feeling alone and isolated. While that may be normal, it needs to be fought. Capiche? This is good. Coming here, making friends, having people that you send emails back and forth with, it is invisible. Yeah, I like the invisible. It's a really important thing. When those feelings of loneliness start to come in, you have to come to the realization and quickly that this is the enemy. If the opposite of addiction is connection, well, then what is lonely? Lonely is the superhighway back to relapse. We're going to get connection one way or the other. And we're going to find our connection through drugs, or we're going to find our connections through people, places, and things that are all new to us. So when you start feeling lonely, reach out, make friends, even if it feels a little uncomfortable. I don't know any of these people. They're all on drugs. These are all druggies. I wasn't like that. All I did was drink. You know what I mean? You got bank robbers and guys that have been to prison, and get rid of all that crap. Get rid of all that crap. Come to realize that the things that unite us are far more important than the things that divide us, and start connecting with one another. And it's going to do wonders for you. You have to take my word on this one because it's a big one. And then number 6, this is actually my favorite. Really is. Number 6 is when all else fails, and all else is going to fail. You hear me? Everything I've just been saying are all great points. And if you could pay attention and actually do those, things would be great. Bud, I don't know that I've welcomed you to the lifeboat before, Bud, but it's good to see you, man. Welcome to the boat. I'm glad that you're here. When all of the things that we're talking about don't work, when you're feeling lonely anyway, and the anger's not going away, and you can't seem to stay busy, and you're losing your patience, and all of the things that we're talking about, right? When all of those things start to fail, remember your why. Spend a good deal of time concentrating on the why. As I said, quitting it is this fast. Staying sober is a lifelong pursuit. But quitting is just the act of saying, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. This is it today, January 1st, right? Or whatever, the 14th. This is my last day. I'm not doing this anymore. That is a very quick decision. And it's followed by a process that is really difficult in order to live up to that decision. So get back to your why, because the why is the ultimate ripcord. Hey, Tommy, you want to go out and get high? Nah, man, I don't want to do that. I'm getting my life together. I'm good. It's China White. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not doing that, man. I'm not, I'm told you I'm over this stuff. Yeah. I got an ounce of it, man. And we got tickets to go see a Guns N' Roses show. And I thought maybe for old time's sake. And the next thing you know, you find yourself going, hell, man, it's one night, right? It's not like Guns N' Roses plays every single night of the week. And I'd like to see how fat Axl got. And it's a flashback, man. I saw him so many times back in the day. Yeah, you know what? I'd like to maybe just smoke a little just this once, right? Well, when you start slipping, get back to the why, because everything in life will change. I mean, look at the day, right? All of a sudden, there's a guy with China White, and he's got tickets to a concert. What are the odds? I mean, I'm 1 in 1,000. When am I going to see this band again? All those things change. You know what doesn't? Your why. Your why does not change. Why did you want to get sober? Because I didn't want my daughter to ever see me strung out. I didn't want to let down my son ever again. I didn't want my dad, right, to look down and know that I was using dope again. I didn't want to let down my mother. And now I got a group of people, 99 of them, think that what I'm doing here is a good thing. And I don't want to let those people down either. And damn it, I don't want to let down me. I made a list this long of my whys. And you know what? Every once in a while, you got to go like this. And start going back to it and go, oh yeah. Because none of these things change. The whys, they don't change. All of this stupid stuff around the outside, all of the stuff that starts to come in and weigh in on you and try to talk you into doing something, those things will change every single day. But the whys never do. And there's never going to be anything that comes up that is such a great deal, that's such an amazing opportunity, that I'd be cool with my son and daughter knowing I'm on heroin. Doesn't happen. There is never going to be one cool thing that I have an opportunity of doing that is going to make it okay for my dad to look down and see me doing dope, or my mother, who stood by me through everything, find out I'm doing heroin again. Those whys, those don't change. So become really acquainted with your why. Don't just write it down and then throw that thing somewhere. Man, you ought to be reading that puppy once a day. In the beginning, you might have to read it once a week, once a day, once an hour. Get it put on a small card. Mine's really long. It would take many cards. But get it put on a card and laminate it. Stick that puppy in your wallet. Have it in your front pocket. Know what your why is. Because sometimes the only thing that's going to get you through is what your why is. There are going to be days that suck so bad that the only thing that is going to keep you going is the reason that you said, I'm done in the first place. Those whys can be the only thing that keeps you sober. So become very good friends with them. Memorize them. And sometimes the act of taking it out and reading it on a piece of paper. I mean, I can say them off the top of my head, but when I look at them in my handwriting, right, knowing I wrote those 8 years ago, the penmanship is awful because my hand was doing this number. But going back and looking at that is huge. It's why journaling is awesome. It's a time capsule of where you were when you decided that you wanted to be a better you. Journaling's huge. Trigger fasting. I stole this, people. I absolutely stole this. As I told you, I go to a lot of sobriety channels. I did the sobriety panel. Well, one of the guys on the sobriety panel used the term trigger fasting. And sadly, he did a horrible job explaining it. So when we were done, and it was sort of like the virtual green room where everybody hangs out afterwards, I said to him, hey, I understand, the English language, so I think I know where this is going, but what's the whole trigger fasting thing? And he said, well, for me, him talking about himself, he said, there are certain things that are triggers for me that are, not what you would normally think, And I said, give me an example. He said, well, Facebook. He said, I'm very close friends with a lot of the guys I know from high school. This guy's older than I am, but apparently has stayed in very close contact with all of the people that he went to high school with. And looking on Facebook, he said, you look at them and 3 of them will have gotten together over the weekend and they're doing beer funnels. It's like all of a sudden it's 1984 again. He said, and I look at those pictures and it just makes me think back to times when I was really having fun. And let's not BS. When we first started doing drugs, it was fun. Before all of the consequences and all of the responsibilities and all of the negative aspects that came along with that started to sink in, it was fun, So looking back, you're not seeing the guy standing in front of the judge going, "Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, I did, guilty, pleading guilty to his third DWI." You just see the guy holding the funnel up and you think, "Oh man, I did that." So this guy, when he starts feeling a little bit squirrely, he does what he calls trigger fasting. So he'll take out a piece of paper and he'll write down the triggers. I don't do well on Facebook. Instagram really jacks me up. Talking to Marty on the telephone is no good. So he'll say 24 hours. I'm not doing any of these. Trigger fasting. I'm not going to YouTube. I'm not going to Instagram. Marty's not going to get me on the phone for the next 24 hours. Any of the things that he knows triggers him to go back to drug use. He's going to fast. He's going to give it a time period, 6 days, 5 days, 3 days, whatever. I'm not doing it. I'm not looking at it. I'm not getting near it. That's that. I think that's genius. I wish I had come up with it, but I think that's genius. I would give credit to where credit is due, but truthfully, I can't remember the cat's name. Maybe by the next time I come here, I'll remember it. But trigger fasting. Man, make a list of what your triggers are. And is it realistic for you to say, I can do away with that for 24 hours? If one of your triggers is Facebook, right? Well, that's easy. Turn that thing off for 24 hours. Man, turn that thing off. Don't check it for 24 hours. Trigger fasting. Great concept. I absolutely love it. And I think it's something that in a pinch can go an awful long way to really helping you out. The next one we talk about all the time, but you know what? I'd be willing to bet 3 out of 10 of you are doing it. That would be my guess, 30%. And that may be high. But exercise, daily exercise. You do not have to do burpees. You don't have to go out and see how many, diamond push-ups you can do, right? Or fingertip push-ups. We're not trying to impress anybody. You're not going to the gym to take your shirt off and pose, right? And do all of that. This is to get your blood pumping and to get you ready so that sleep is happy at the end of the day. To say, welcome, you have earned me, right? Sleep is earned. I can go to sleep. Walk 25 minutes a day. Tommy, I can't walk. Okay, what can you do? What can you do? I'm stuck in a chair. I remember when my dad was stuck in a chair and he would elevate his legs from the knees down. He would just get his legs and put them straight out. And then you'd get him a couple of 1 pound dumbbells, 1 pound, and he'd start doing these numbers. There's a way to exercise. I don't care where you are, what you're doing. You know what? I'm not in a place you can exercise. I was locked in a closet for 3 years, a walk-in closet. In fact, my walk-in closet is bigger than the cell I was in. You can exercise anywhere. The beautiful thing about exercise is anybody can do it anywhere, and that is a fact. Sorry. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Green Acres is the place to be. Fortunately, I don't sing well enough to get that kind of thing. Okay. So exercise is absolutely key. And it doesn't have to be anything dramatic. Get out and walk. I got addicted to exercise. Good for you, Full of Hope. That's a great addiction. That is a great addiction. There are good addictions, right? Being addicted to exercise is a beautiful thing. It takes up time. It becomes part of a routine. It ticks off about 5 of the things that we've been talking about. Exercise is huge, people. And if you say, I'll get to it later, you'll get to booze or drugs before you get to it later. Exercise has to become part of what you're doing, and I mean instantly. Capsaicin, great addiction. My brother, I'm not sure if you knew this, but my brother, he eats hot things. Seriously. His name's Johnny. Eats a lot of hot things, peppers, whatnot. Good deal of whatnot eater. But that's a healthy addiction, and it releases endorphins, and it does all kinds of cool stuff. There's a ton of different addictions out there that are good ones. Exercise is big, people. You have to have it. Develop new habits. This is different, by the way, than having a routine. It really is. There are habits that you can do. For instance, now very much a part of every single thing I do every single day is navage. I do it twice a day. Doesn't take up a lot of time. Takes maybe 6 minutes in the morning and 6 minutes at night. You understand the concept? A little tube goes up each nostril. It blows warm salt water up this side, sucks warm salt water out the other side, but it clears out the nose completely. Makes it a whole lot easier to breathe, right? That's part of my routine. It's something that I do every single day. It is a new habit. Every day. I take my chew toy. I've showed you this before. It goes in my mouth. It takes 40 pounds of pressure for me to go up and down on it. 5 minutes, twice a day. And there's two different strengths. One is like 25 pounds, the other is 40. But I do 5 minutes twice a day. How's that jawline looking, huh? Third chin is now just a second chin. I'm not doing it for cosmetic reasons. I'm doing it because it gets a ton of blood flow to the head. And from a scientific thing for me, the more blood I got going to my head, the better off I am. And it has been a great new habit. There are people out there that are learning to do there are people out there that are learning to do archery. There are people out there that are learning to play the harmonica. There are people out there learning to play the piano. Developing new passions is a lock, a stone cold lock as a way to keep yourself sober. That is the definition of creating a new you, having new habits that you are passionate about. There's a reason that Johnny never relapsed. You know, the timing was perfect. He was quitting this while he was really getting very, very into the whole capsaicin thing. I mean, he had already been doing it, but he was really starting to step up his game, really push the limits of what he was doing. So there were new things. There was new routines. There was new habits. There was all of these things that weren't part of the old Johnny were now part of the new Johnny. And that's a rock solid way to make sure that you continue to stay sober. Really, it is. Number 10, be good to you. This is a big one. This is really a big one. Yeah, Johnny says, in a million connections. Can't have enough connections. You can't. The more people you know, the more things you're connected to, the better a chance you got to stay in sober, because it is the opposite of addiction. Connection. Don't argue with me on this one. I'm right. And I didn't come up with that, people. I just believe in it. But be good to yourself. Be good to you. And what does that mean? Well, it can mean the smallest things in the world. It could mean 5 more minutes in the shower. It could mean getting a cat, right? You love animals and I really haven't had time. Get a cat, get an animal, get a dog, whatever. Things that are going to make you happy that have absolutely nothing to do with moving you forward in life, right? Having a squirrel, probably not going to make me a more successful person, but it sure as hell makes me a happier one. It's things like that are, it's doing good just for me. You know what else it is? This. No, I'm done. I'm done. It's the ability to say, somebody just wrote me a really hateful and nasty email, and I'm not going to engage, right? I sent back a response. I'm done. I'm done. Because being good to me is not going to be embroiling myself in drama that is based on somebody else's hangups. I'm not going to do that. It's unhealthy. So I have the ability and the necessity to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm not doing that. Plain and simple. Rip Curl says, Tommy Bird, hobbies that get you to focus and exercise are great. And they do both. They make you think and laugh and be happy. It's bonus. Rip, and if you do it with good people, I mean, if you were going to the range with Rip Curl. If you have never seen Rip Curl Readiness on the Range, you should go watch him because I would love, if I was legal, I would love to be able to go and shoot with him on the range because he's having a ball. And it's just really obvious that he's enjoying what he's doing. But that's a perfect example of being good to you. You know, be good to you. What are your passions? You know, I go into watch boutiques and I try on watches that I'm going to have to win the lottery to get. Doesn't mean I'm not going to get them. I don't mean as in buying a lottery ticket. I just mean that everything I'm doing is going to have to go perfectly, and maybe someday I'll be able to afford these. But I'll tell you something. It does something for me to see the craftsmanship of that and have it in my hand and play with it. Or, you know, I change watches sometimes 3 times a day because this is a passion for me. And this means nothing to anybody. But to me, having this on my wrist is being good to me. And anything that you can do that is just going to bring you serenity and happiness and peace. I call my son and my daughter more than they want to hear from me. I promise you I do. I guarantee you that they're sick of it. But that's being good to me. That is taking the time to say, you know what? I'm on edge a little bit. I'm not in danger of anything. I'm just kind of on edge. I'm going to call Cedar because she makes me laugh every time I call her. And it's, 5 or 10 minutes of talking to my daughter is a tune-up. My son is the same way. I call Calhoun and the two of us will start laughing and cracking jokes. And by the time I hang up, I'm in a better place. That's being good to me, right? Taking care of me through my connections, right? That I've got in life, but being good to me. So many times we say things like, you know what? I'd love to call my kid, but I know he's busy. And you know what? Maybe he is, but I'm going to be good to me right now. I'm going to be good to me. If he's super busy, he'll tell me he can't talk, but I'm not going to play that game. I'd like to talk to Johnny. I know he's busy. Forget his busy. I'm going to be good to me. I want to pick up the phone. I'm going to call. And if he's here, he'll tell you. I've picked up the phone and I've said, hey, Johnny, how you doing? Are you busy? He'd go, yeah. Okay. Well, I need to talk to you anyway. Yeah, I'm busy. That's okay. You're going to talk to me anyway because I need you right now. Being good to me. If that's another walk during the day, if it's going outside and swinging a golf club, if it is whatever it is for you, 10 minutes of playing video games, whatever the hell it is, be good to you. And then the very last thing, and boy, you would have thought that I actually practiced this one. Look at the timing, people. It's just, see that? It's meshing right together. The very last thing on this list is be honest with yourself about your past. You do not have to get a channel that 200,000 people are going to hear you say, I robbed banks. That's not what I mean. I mean being honest with you about your past. Because it's very easy to romanticize, right? Like we're talking about that, the fasting from triggers. So you go and you look on Facebook and there's 3 of your friends and, they got a picture and it's real obvious from the picture because the guy's got a big white thing right here, right? And you can see on the table, there's a little tutor and you're like, oh man, they're doing blow. Man, it used to be fun when I would do that right then and there. Time to be honest. Don't romanticize your drug. Honesty. How much money did it cost you? How much time did you spend incarcerated? How much legal trouble did you have? How many girls did you destroy? Because you don't just break up relationships when you're doing drugs like that. You destroy them. The people are never the same. They'll go on and they'll live a better life and they'll be happy, but they're never going to be what they were before I did to them what I did to them. Owning that. Taking the time to go, even if it's the simplest stuff in the world. I watched my brother the other day pull up his little app and say, this is how much money I've saved. You know what? Talk about it. If it's just you in the mirror, look in the mirror and say, I've spent $1 million on dope in my life. I spent $1 million on dope in my life. What a waste. Think of the people I could have helped with that. Think of what I could have done just hedonistically if I wanted to. I could have bought a Patek Philippe, a Ferrari, and a house in Hawaii for what I've done. And I get out the calculator. For real. Am I trying to depress myself? No, but I'm trying to make it real as hell. $700 a day times 365 days times 7 years. That's the last runner, right? And you start doing the math and you go, oh my God, I spent a lot of money. Then get out a piece of paper and write down the number of people who you damaged badly. The people whose lives you affected so much that they're never going to be the same. They're never going to be the person they were before they met you. Make a list. Own the things you did in the past. Because owning those things are going to make you really, really hesitant to do it again. It's very easy to forget the adverse effects that our drugs caused. It's easy to remember the woohoo and you got a lampshade on your head and everybody's dancing and it's just fun. But the following day when you were in handcuffs on the way to the police station and your car was wrapped around a fire hydrant, those are the things you got to remember. Think of the money. You know, I think of the house that I'm in and I think of what this house is worth and I think I smoked that. I smoked that much money in dope. Forget coke, meth, all of the other drugs I did. Just smoking heroin, not shooting it, smoking it. I smoked enough heroin to buy this house. That's something I should never, ever forget. It's an important thing for me. It really is an important thing for me. So this was a handful of things, people. To be really honest with you, this list should be 50. But this was a quick, what did I give you? I think that was either 10 or 11, something like that. Let's see. See if I actually wrote numbers down next to them because I'm not very bright. 11. And you know why? This was not a list to 10. Anybody? Anybody? Why did this go to 11? Because when you get to 10, right, and you've got everything that a person needs to hear, and you've got them right on the edge, but you got to go just that little bit further. Well, this one goes to 11. Please tell me somebody got that reference. Somebody other than Emma Hunt. If he's still on here, he got that reference. But this one goes to 11. For you youngsters on the lifeboat that came from the very first mockumentary. That's a genre of film now that I got it. Thank you, Heather. It is a genre now that tons of people have done, but the very first of the mockumentaries was on Britain's loudest rock band. This is Spinal Tap. People who brought you such classics as the album Smell the Glove, or Fat Bottoms is a good one. Yeah. Stonehenge, I believe, is one of the albums. Anyway, people, I appreciate you. As always, I can come here feeling a little down. And after sharing with the crew of the lifeboat, I always leave feeling in... did you say that, full of hope? I missed it. Let's see. I'm going to go back and see if you really did. Although I should assume you did. Yes, see that? I knew Full of Hope would know. We are of the same age, you know. Full of Hope and I. We're both in our 20s. All right, peeps. I am Tommy Scoville. You know what, Tommy Bird? You could help, and I'm glad that you did. I really, all of you, love you guys. So I'm Captain Tommy, and this... Oh, look, she disappears. She's a good kitty. Should we see if I can get a bite out of her? What do you think? Want to give it a bite? No? Gonna be kind? He's a good kitty. All right, peeps. We will be back out. We will be back tomorrow in the AM. Between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody. And if that somebody is you, then work real hard on it. All right? Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. I know she's the only reason you're here. It doesn't even hurt my feelings anymore. Oh, you know what? I'm going to show this one off real quick because I'm in the process of restoring this. And you'll either get this or you won't. If Cemetery's here, he'll get it. But can you guys see that? That is a very, very old chronograph by Baume Mercier. And it needs a full restoration. But man, I love this watch. All right. I'm going to get to work, people. Thank you so much for what you do. You guys, you're a pretty amazing group of people. Thank you, Crazy Brumfield. I truly am blessed. And you know what? If you're lurking and you're the person that sent me that email, man, I love you. That's why that one hurts so bad. You know, because deep down, I love you. And that one really hurt. Have a great day, everybody. And we will see you on the next one. All right. Bye-bye. What do you think, squirrels?